MixMaster Ink Estimator. There are currently two selections for estimating ink within MixMaster. One method is for sheet-fed or paste inks. The other method is for water-based inks, also known as flexo inks. Start by selecting the appropriate tab and working with the instructions on that screen. With the sheet-fed ink estimator, there are several steps. Step 1, you have to generalize the type of ink, and there are several selections. Also, there is a paper category with several selections as well. Starting with the ink, move the radio button or circle button to the appropriate selection and click. Paper type, doing the same as well. Then to step 2. Step 2 involves a few different kind of selections in which basically you'll be designing your estimate based on solid halftone text or coverage to an entire sheet size. So when you're working with solid and halftone, your length and width measurement should be considered more of the image size. So if we had a solid image that was 5 by 5, we would choose solid and then put in measurements of 5 and 5. Once we've done that, we just put in our number of sheets. In this case here, we'll do 10,000 and press the Enter key. If we're doing anything with impressions up, such that there'll be 1 impression up per sheet, 2, or say 4, you can actually just drop the menu box and inform MixMaster as to how many impressions will be up on a face-up on the sheet itself. Once you've chosen these selections here to calculate your estimate, you press the Calculate button. In doing so, it will give you the pounds required for the job and kilograms required for the job. Now, if anything here needs to be revised, you can go back to your steps and change them, or you can press the Clear button and begin from the whole process right from the beginning again. In this case here, if we wanted to do a halftone, we could click halftone, obviously keeping the length and width, number of sheets, pressing Calculate again. Now we have a different quantity required for the job. Moving to text, that would be a block of text that's approximately 5 by 5, 10,000 sheets. Pressing Calculate, there's our quantities for that. Now the final selection is called coverage, which is very important because this will actually be based upon sheet size. So if we're doing base a 11/17 sheet size, now we can actually choose what type of coverage we want for that. So if we happen to have a fairly good idea that we're going to be using 35% coverage on 11/17 with 10,000 sheets, impressions up being 1, we can press Calculate, and from there, for that specs there, we can see that we have 1.75 pounds. And once again, we can revise the percentage by going over through here, changing it, just selecting a new number, pressing Calculate, and getting new information is here. And if we need to, we can keep revising the information that's here, pressing Calculate, getting obviously new results. Or we can do a clear and just clear everything off the screen. Now, the mileage factor, which is determined by square inches that can be printed with 1 pound of ink. The mileage factor is predetermined and set up in MixMaster so that you can begin with some fairly accurate estimates. But if the user determines that they know mileage factors that would work better, you're allowed to change them. And you can actually set up a mileage factor for every kind of combination of ink and paper. So in this case here, with the selection of black, there are 4 paper types. That means there are 4 mileage factors for each one of those combinations. So if we want to look at the mileage factor for black and uncoated paper, we could press the Edit Mileage button. And this will tell us black on uncoated paper. The default provided by the software is this value here, 300,000. In this case, if we want to make changes to it and we feel that there's a better number that represents the product that you're using on that paper, you can revise that number and then save it and then lock in your own mileage factor for black on uncoated paper. Once again, just viewing the other combinations, leaving the black as the selection, we can go to gloss paper and we can look at the mileage for that combination, pressing the edit mileage. You can see that there are different values being represented for that combination. And as before, you can highlight that number, revise that number to whatever it is that you want, press save, and that will become the mileage factor that's used in the calculation process of creating the estimate. And you can go through any one of these combinations here with spot color, matte coated paper, edit the mileage factor. Once again, spot on a matte coated. So any of the combinations of ink with these 4 paper types is an edit mileage capability. You can go in and you can edit the mileage for that. In terms of using the Flexo Ink Estimator, it is pretty straightforward and simple. You basically type in your length, your width, the number of pieces, and the percent of coverage that will be on the job that you're printing. Once those selections have been made, you can then set your analogs values. So you have several to work from. You have one that uses a 2 to 4 BCM, another one that uses 5 to 7, one with no doctor blade, and another one which would be known as the rod coating station. So basically, once again, with the Flexo users, you type in your length, your width, number of pieces or impressions, the coverage per piece, and then from there choosing any one of these selections here. So if we had a 5 by 5 and then number of pieces, let's say we'll put that back at 10,000, pressing the enter key, we can leave the selection of the analogs at 2 to 4 BCMs and press calculate, and that will tell us how much we need there. Or we can change the analogs value, press calculate again. Once again, changing the analogs values and pressing the calculate button, we can see how the quantity keeps changing. And that concludes how to use the MixMaster Ink Estimator.